Welcome to Impact Intuitive's presentation skills training. Now, before we jump into our training for today, I want to take just 1 minute to talk about some of the ideas and inspiration that took place behind the scenes to develop this content for you. Our number one goal was to determine the skills that were required to take presenters to the next level. Once we were able to pinpoint these skills, our focus was to implement them in a training so that not only could you learn, but more importantly, you can implement these skills in your professional roles. As you may have gathered from the previous slide, the purpose of our presentation today is to equip you with those very skills that we just spoke about and help you advance as a presenter in the workplace. We've broken down our agenda into three key categories. First one is preparation, second one content, and lastly delivery. In preparation, we'll talk about presentation type and the audience for our presentation. Next, we'll talk about how those two things are summed together to give us our purpose and goals. And we'll wrap things up by talking about room setup. Next, we'll talk about content, and in content, we'll talk about PowerPoint basics and some of the best practices there. We'll talk about the structure for our content, and we'll wrap it up by talking about effective planning and timing, both of which are going to set us up for success in delivery. In delivery, we'll kick things off by talking about self-talk and credibility, how to be able to build credibility through storytelling, participation, movement, body language, etc. Then we'll talk a little bit about buzzwords, and we'll wrap it up with a few interesting topics and talking about effective pauses, how and when to be able to use humor, and how to be able to effectively answer questions. The last thing that I want to talk about before we jump into the preparation section is my call to action. My call to action is my expectation from you in this training. And I have three pieces of expectation. The first one is for you to take notes. The second one is to try it for yourself. And the third and most important one is to implement in your day-to-day lives. I want to take a quick 30 seconds to talk about the importance of this third step. So let's put ourselves in a scenario where we are presenting. And a lot of times while we're presenting, there's various different emotions and tons of different distractions that can occur, but let's take one as an example. Let's talk about nervousness. Now, when you're nervous in a presentation, the common reaction from a person is to revert back to the things or the person that they feel comfortable being. Now, if you're not able to implement what you learn in your day-to-day lives, then it'll be that much more difficult for you to be able to implement them during a presentation.